As I drove into the quaint village of Qingxi, nestled deep within the mist-shrouded mountains of China, a sense of unease settled upon me. The road wound through thick forests and past terraced fields that seemed to cling to the slopes as if fearful of tumbling into the valley below. I had accepted a teaching position here, eager for a change of scenery and a chance to immerse myself in a culture far removed from the bustling cities I had grown accustomed to. The villagers greeted me warmly, but with a tinge of reserve whenever I broached the subject of local legends. The tale of the drowned bride, whispered about in hushed tones, intrigued me the most. According to the law, she had met her tragic end on the night of her wedding, her life cut short before it truly began. Since then, her restless spirit was said to appear on nights of the full moon, luring unsuspecting souls toward the ancient well where she had perished. My modest accommodation, a traditional courtyard house with crimson lanterns swaying in the evening breeze, exuded a peculiar charm that seemed at odds with the stories I had heard. As I unpacked my belongings, the villagers' warnings echoed in my mind. They spoke of the bride's ethereal beauty, her haunting presence that could ensnare even the most steadfast soul. Night fell swiftly in Qingxi, cloaking the village in an eerie stillness, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves and the distant call of a nightbird. I found myself drawn to the window, peering out into the mist that clung to the mountainside like a spectral veil. A chill ran down my spine as a faint voice drifted through the fog, a mournful melody that stirred something deep within me. "Come." The whisper seemed to echo from the depths of the forest, carrying with it a sense of longing and sorrow. I shook my head, dismissing it as a trick of the wind. Yet, the unease lingered, gnawing at the edges of my consciousness. Was there truth to the villagers' tales, or were they merely cautionary fables spun to keep outsiders at bay? Sleep proved elusive that night. Images of the drowned bride haunted my dreams, her pale face, framed by dark, dripping hair, reaching out from the depths of the well. I awoke with a start, drenched in cold sweat, the room bathed in the ethereal glow of dawn. It was then that I made a decision. I would uncover the truth behind the legend that seemed to grip this village in a spectral embrace. With each passing moment, my curiosity grew, overshadowing the unease that had greeted me upon my arrival. Little did I know, my quest for answers would lead me down a path fraught with peril and revelations beyond my wildest imaginings. Days turned into weeks as I settled into my new routine, teaching at the local school by day and delving deeper into the village's history by night. The legend of the drowned bride consumed my thoughts, a puzzle with missing pieces that I was determined to solve. Evenings found me wandering the cobblestone paths that wound through the village, seeking out snippets of information from the villagers who gathered outside their homes. They spoke of the bride in hushed tones, their voices laden with equal parts fear and fascination. Old men and women shared tales passed down through generations, each adding a layer to the haunting narrative. One crisp autumn evening, I overheard a group of elderly villagers gathered outside a tea house, their faces illuminated by flickering lantern light. They spoke in reverent tones, their voices rising and falling like the wind that swept through the mountain passes. "Stay away from the well on nights of the full moon," an old woman cautioned, her wrinkled face grave with solemnity. "Her spirit wanders then, searching for a companion to join her in eternity." A chill ran down my spine at her words, but I pressed on, my curiosity overpowering any sense of trepidation. The next day I visited the well, a stone structure weathered by time and neglect, its mouth choked with moss and memories. The air around it felt heavy, pregnant with the weight of centuries-old secrets. As I stood there contemplating the well's murky depths, a sudden gust of wind carried with it a whisper, a name, barely audible yet unmistakably clear: Zhang Wei. My heart raced. Had the bride's spirit called out to me, or was it simply my imagination running wild? The line between reality and superstition blurred in that moment, and I knew then that I had embarked on a journey that would test not only my courage, but also my sanity. That night, as I lay awake in bed, the echoes of the village's secrets reverberated in my mind. The drowned bride's allure beckoned, like a siren's song drawing me inexorably closer to the edge of a dark abyss. Little did I know, the answers I sought would lead me deeper into a realm where the veil between the living and the dead was thinner than I could have ever imagined. Days melted into weeks as I continued my exploration of Qingxi, each step taking me closer to unraveling the mystery of the drowned bride. The village, with its winding paths and ancient houses, seemed to hold its breath, as if waiting for me to uncover its darkest secrets. One brisk afternoon, I found myself drawn once again to the well. Its presence loomed in my thoughts like a spectre, a silent sentinel guarding the village's hidden truths. I approached cautiously, the gravel path crunching underfoot as I neared the weathered stone structure. The well, bathed in the soft light of the setting sun, cast long shadows across the courtyard. I reached out tentatively, running my fingers along the rough-hewn stones, as if seeking answers in their ancient grooves. The air around me seemed charged with a palpable energy, as if the very earth held its breath in anticipation. A voice, soft yet insistent, whispered in the back of my mind. "Find me." I jerked back, startled. Was it the wind playing tricks on my ears, or had I truly heard the voice of the drowned bride? My heart pounded against my ribcage, a primal rhythm echoing the cadence of fear and fascination that gripped me. Night descended like a velvet curtain, cloaking the village in a hush broken only by the distant call of a lone owl. Sleep once again eluded me, my mind haunted by visions of the well and the secrets it harbored. I tossed and turned, my thoughts swirling like leaves caught in a tempestuous wind. In the darkest hours before dawn, I rose from bed with a sense of purpose that bordered on obsession. I retraced my steps to the well, the moon casting a silvery glow upon its moss-covered stones. Shadows danced at the periphery of my vision, whispering secrets too ancient and too terrible to comprehend. I knelt before the well, peering into its depths as if searching for answers in the abyss. The water below shimmered like liquid silver, reflecting the moon's ghostly light. And then, amidst the ripples and reflections, I saw her. A figure cloaked in mist and memory, her eyes pools of darkness that seemed to draw me closer with each heartbeat. "Who are you?" I whispered, my voice barely more than a breath carried away by the night. The figure remained silent, her presence a weight upon my soul. And yet in those fleeting moments I felt a connection, a thread of longing and loss that bound us across time and space. A chill wind swept through the courtyard, scattering leaves and unsettling the quiet of the night. I shivered, the realization dawning upon me like the first light of dawn. The drowned bride sought something beyond mere companionship. She sought absolution, release from the shackles of her tragic fate. As the first rays of sunlight kissed the horizon, I made a silent vow. I would unravel the mystery of the drowned bride, not out of fear or curiosity, but out of a deep-seated conviction that her story deserved to be told. Little did I know, the answers I sought lay not only within the village's shadowed corners, but also within the recesses of my own heart. Days stretched into a monotonous rhythm as I delved deeper into the legend that had ensnared my thoughts and dreams. The villagers regarded me with a mixture of curiosity and caution, their superstitions tempered by a grudging respect for my determination. Nights of the full moon became my obsession, the time when the drowned bride was said to wander the mortal realm in search of a companion. I found myself drawn to the well with increasing frequency, as if the lure of the moon's silver light held a sway over my very soul. On one such night, the village lay shrouded in a silvery haze, the air thick with the scent of jasmine and impending rain. I stood before the well, my pulse quickening with a mixture of anticipation and dread. The moon hung low in the sky, casting long shadows that seemed to dance to a macabre melody only I could hear. I waited, breath held in a silent prayer as minutes stretched into eternity. And then, as if summoned by the moon's luminous embrace, she appeared, a figure draped in gossamer moonlight, her form ethereal and yet achingly real. The drowned bride. Her eyes, dark as the abyss, locked onto mine with a haunting intensity that pierced through the layers of time and memory. I felt a pull, an irresistible urge to reach out, to touch the veil that separated us and uncover the truth hidden within her spectral presence. Jiang Wei. Her voice echoed in the stillness, a whisper carried on the breeze that stirred the leaves and teased my senses. Why do you seek me? I hesitated, the weight of her question settling like a stone in the pit of my stomach. Why indeed? What drove me to unravel the mystery of a tragedy centuries old, to risk my sanity and perhaps even my soul in pursuit of a truth that defied reason? I want to understand, I finally answered, my voice barely more than a murmur. I want to help you find peace. The bride's laughter rang out, a melody tinged with sadness and resignation. Peace, she echoed, the word heavy with meaning. There is no peace for the damned, only the endless cycle of longing and loss. Her words struck a chord within me, resonating with a truth that transcended the boundaries of mortal comprehension. I reached out, fingers trembling as they brushed against the cool surface of the well. The bride watched, her expression unreadable yet suffused with a strange mixture of hope and despair. Help me, she pleaded, her voice a fragile whisper that hung between us like a fragile thread. Break the curse that binds me to this world, and I will grant you the answers you seek. I nodded, my resolve hardening like steel forged in the fires of determination. I will, I vowed, the words spoken not only to the bride but also to myself. I will set you free. And with that solemn promise, the moon's silvery light seemed to brighten, casting a path forward where shadows had once obscured the way. I had embarked on a journey that would lead me deeper into the heart of darkness, where the line between reality and legend blurred, and the fate of both the living and the dead hung in precarious balance. With the promise made to the drowned bride lingering heavy in my heart, I threw myself into research with newfound fervor. The village library, a dusty repository of ancient scrolls and weathered tomes, became my sanctuary. I pored over accounts of Qingxi's history, seeking clues that might unravel the mystery of the bride's tragic fate. Among the brittle pages and faded ink, I uncovered fragments of truth buried beneath layers of myth and superstition. The bride, a young woman named Mei Ying, had been betrothed to a wealthy merchant's son, a union arranged to secure the family's fortune and prestige. On the eve of their wedding, tragedy struck. Mei Ying disappeared without a trace, leaving behind a grief-stricken groom and a village consumed by whispers of foul play. Some claimed jealousy and betrayal had driven Mei Ying to flee, while others whispered of darker forces at play, a curse born of unrequited love and a broken heart. But one account stood out, a diary discovered in the archives of an ancient temple on the outskirts of the village. Written by a monk who had witnessed Mei Ying's final moments, the diary spoke of a love doomed from the start, a love that defied societal expectations and ignited a passion that burned like wildfire in the hearts of the young lovers. Armed with newfound knowledge, I returned to the well, a sentinel that had witnessed centuries of joy and sorrow, hope and despair. The air hummed with a palpable energy as I stood before its moss-covered stones, the weight of centuries pressing down upon me like a suffocating embrace. Mei Ying, I whispered, the name a prayer on my lips. I know you're here. Show me the truth. A chill wind swept through the courtyard, carrying with it the faint scent of jasmine and the echoes of a love that had transcended time itself. And then, as if in response to my plea, she appeared, a vision clothed in moonlight and memory, her eyes pools of darkness that held the answers I sought. Why did you come? Mei Ying's voice was a melody tinged with sorrow, her form flickering like a candle, flame in the wind. I came to set you free, I replied, my voice steady despite the tumultuous emotions raging within me. To break the curse that binds you to this world. Mei Ying regarded me with a mixture of awe and disbelief, her gaze searching mine for any hint of deceit. Finding none, she nodded, a gesture weighted with the weight of centuries-old regret and longing. Follow me, she murmured, her voice barely more than a whisper carried on the wind. Together, we descended into the labyrinthine depths of Qingxi's past, where secrets lay buried beneath layers of time and tradition. Each step brought us closer to the heart of the mystery, closer to unlocking the truth that had eluded us for so long. And as we ventured deeper into the shadows of the village's history, I realized with a sinking heart that the line between savior and doomed soul had blurred beyond recognition. For in seeking to break Mei Ying's curse, I had unwittingly become ensnared in a web of fate that threatened to consume us both. The nights grew colder as autumn tightened its grip on Qingxi, a harbinger of change that mirrored the turmoil within my own soul. Mei Ying's presence haunted me, her spectral form a constant reminder of the vow I had made to set her free from the curse that bound her to the mortal realm. Together, we retraced the footsteps of her final days, piecing together fragments of memory and myth in a desperate bid to unravel the tangled threads of fate. The villagers watched with wary eyes, their superstitions tempered by a grudging respect for the determination that drove us forward. On one moonlit night, Mei Ying led me to a forgotten shrine nestled deep within the forest, a shrine dedicated to a deity long forgotten by all but the most devout villagers. The air crackled with energy as we stood before the weathered altar, its surface adorned with offerings of wildflowers and incense. "This is where it happened," Mei Ying whispered, her voice barely more than a sigh carried on the wind. "Where our love was tested and ultimately betrayed." I listened, captivated by the sorrow etched into every syllable of her tale. Mei Ying spoke of forbidden meetings and stolen moments, of a love that defied societal norms and incurred the wrath of those who sought to control her fate. And when their secret was discovered, tragedy ensued, a betrayal that shattered not only their dreams but also the fragile balance between the mortal realm and the spirit world. Together we performed rituals long forgotten by the villagers, invoking ancient prayers and offerings in hopes of appeasing the restless spirits that haunted Qingxi. The night stretched into eternity, the moon casting long shadows that seemed to dance to a mournful melody only we could hear. At dawn, exhausted yet strangely exhilarated, I made a solemn vow to Mei Ying, a pact forged in blood and moonlight, sealed with a promise to break the curse that bound her to the well and the village that had betrayed her. But as the days turned into weeks and the chill of winter settled over Qingxi, I began to question the price of my obsession. Shadows danced at the periphery of my vision, whispers of doubt and dread that threatened to unravel the fragile tapestry of hope I had woven around Mei Ying's plight. Was I truly the savior she sought, or had I unwittingly become the harbinger of her eternal damnation? Winter descended upon Qingxi with an icy grip, painting the village in shades of white and grey. The chill in the air mirrored the unease that had settled in my heart since making the pact with Mei Ying. Each passing day brought us closer to the full moon, the night when we would confront the curse that bound her to the well and perhaps find a way to break its hold. In the quiet moments between lessons at the village school, I delved deeper into Mei Ying's story. The more I uncovered, the clearer it became that her fate was intricately woven into the fabric of Qingxi's history, a tapestry of love and betrayal, hope and despair that spanned centuries. One afternoon, as snowflakes danced outside my classroom window, an elderly villager approached me with a worn scroll in hand. "This belonged to my ancestors," she murmured, her voice barely more than a whisper. "It speaks of Mei Ying and the curse that befell her." I unrolled the scroll with trembling hands, my eyes scanning the faded characters that told of a love that defied death itself. Mei Ying's lover, driven mad by grief and guilt, had sought to defy the curse that had claimed her life. He had delved into forbidden rituals and dark magic, desperate to reunite with his lost love. But in his folly, he had unwittingly bound Mei Ying's spirit to the well, a prison of water and memory from which she could never escape. The truth struck me like a blow to the chest, stealing my breath and clouding my thoughts. Had I been a pawn in Mei Ying's lover's desperate bid for redemption, or was there still a chance to break the curse and set her free? That night, as the moon rose high in the sky, casting a silver path across the snow-covered landscape, Mei Ying appeared before me once more. Her form flickered in the moonlight, her eyes searching mine for any hint of doubt or hesitation. "Tonight," she whispered, her voice a fragile echo in the stillness. "We must confront the darkness that binds us." I nodded, my resolve hardening like steel forged in the fires of determination. Together, we made our way to the well, a silent witness to centuries of joy and sorrow, hope and despair. The air hummed with a palpable energy as we stood before its moss-covered stones, the weight of centuries pressing down upon us like a suffocating embrace. "We must perform the ritual," Mei Ying murmured, her voice barely audible above the wind that swept through the courtyard. "Only then can we break the curse that binds me to this world." I nodded again, my hands trembling as I gathered the implements needed for the ritual: a blade of obsidian, blessed herbs, and a silver chalice filled with water from the well itself. Each item held a significance that transcended the boundaries of mortal understanding, a bridge between the living and the dead that we would traverse together. And as the moon reached its zenith, casting long shadows that seemed to dance to a mournful melody only we could hear, we began the ritual that would determine Mei Ying's fate and mine. The ritual unfolded like a dance between worlds, each movement and incantation a step closer to unraveling the tangled threads of fate that bound Mei Ying to the well. The air crackled with energy as we invoked ancient prayers and offerings, the night holding its breath in anticipation of what was to come. Mei Ying's presence beside me was both comforting and unsettling, a reminder of the weight of responsibility I had taken upon myself in my quest to break her curse. Her form flickered in the moonlight, ethereal and yet achingly real, her eyes fixed on the well that held her captive. "Are you ready?" I asked, my voice barely more than a whisper as I held the obsidian blade aloft. Its surface gleamed in the moonlight, a reflection of the power and peril that lay within its razor-sharp edge. Mei Ying nodded, her expression a mixture of determination and resignation. "Yes," she replied, her voice steady despite the tumultuous emotions raging within her. With a deep breath, I plunged the blade into the water of the well, the surface rippling like liquid silver beneath its touch. The air hummed with anticipation as I chanted the ancient words that had been passed down through generations, a plea for mercy, for forgiveness, for release from the bonds that held Mei Ying captive. The ground beneath us trembled, the very earth seeming to respond to our entreaty. Shadows danced at the periphery of my vision, whispers of doubt and dread that threatened to unravel the fragile tapestry of hope I had woven around Mei Ying's plight. And then, in a blinding flash of light, the curse began to unravel. A veil of darkness lifted from Mei Ying's form, revealing the radiant beauty that had been obscured by centuries of sorrow and regret. She stood before me whole and free, her eyes shining with gratitude and awe. "Thank you," she murmured, her voice a melody tinged with newfound hope. "You have given me the gift of peace." I smiled, relief flooding through me like a tidal wave. Together, we watched as Mei Ying's spirit ascended into the night sky, a beacon of light that pierced through the darkness and illuminated the path to redemption. As dawn broke over Qingxi, casting its golden hues across the snow-covered landscape, I knew that my journey was far from over. The village held other secrets, other souls in need of salvation, and I would not rest until I had unraveled every mystery and granted every lost spirit the peace they so desperately sought. But for now, as the first rays of sunlight kissed the horizon, I allowed myself a moment of respite, a moment to bask in the knowledge that I had fulfilled my promise and brought an end to Mei Ying's torment. With Mei Ying's spirit finally at peace, Qingxi seemed to exhale a collective sigh of relief. The villagers, once wary of my presence, now regarded me with a newfound respect, a gratitude born of the knowledge that I had liberated their village from the shadow of the drowned bride. Yet, amidst the celebrations and expressions of gratitude, I found myself haunted by memories of my time in Qingxi. Mei Ying's story had touched something deep within me, a longing for truth, for understanding, and for a connection that transcended the boundaries of time and mortality. As I prepared to depart from the village that had become both my sanctuary and my crucible, I visited the well one last time. Its waters shimmered with a clarity that mirrored my own thoughts, resolute yet tempered by the weight of the journey I had undertaken. "Thank you," I murmured, my voice a whisper carried on the wind, "for showing me the power of love and the strength of the human spirit." The well remained silent, its ancient stones bearing witness to centuries of joy and sorrow, hope and despair. And yet, as I turned to leave, a faint ripple disturbed the surface of the water, a fleeting reminder of the bond forged between Mei Ying and me in our quest for redemption. As I walked away from Qingxi, my heart heavy with memories and gratitude, I knew that Mei Ying's story would stay with me forever, a testament to the enduring power of love and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. Years passed since my time in Qingxi, yet the memory of Mei Ying and the village haunted me still. I had returned to my former life, the hustle and bustle of the city, a stark contrast to the quiet solitude of the mountain village. But amidst the cacophony of urban life, Mei Ying's spirit lingered, a guiding light that illuminated my path and reminded me of the promise I had made to her on that fateful night. One evening, as I sorted through old belongings tucked away in a forgotten corner of my apartment, I came across a weathered journal, a relic from my time in Qingxi. Dust motes danced in the soft glow of the setting sun as I opened its pages, the familiar scent of jasmine and memories flooding my senses. I traced the faded ink with trembling fingers, reliving each moment as if it had happened only yesterday. The villagers whispered warnings, the haunting melody that had echoed through the mist-shrouded mountains, and Mei Ying's ethereal presence, all were etched into the pages of the journal, a testament to the transformative power of love and sacrifice. And then, amidst the yellowed pages and ink-stained memories, I found a pressed wildflower, a jasmine blossom, delicate and fragrant, its petals preserved as if frozen in time. Tears welled in my eyes as I remembered the rituals we had performed, the vows we had exchanged in our quest to break the curse that bound Mei Ying to the well. Outside, the city bustled with life, a symphony of car horns and footsteps that echoed through the streets below. But in that moment, as I held the jasmine blossom in my hands, I felt a profound sense of peace, a reassurance that Mei Ying had found the peace she sought, and that our paths had been forever intertwined by the bonds of love and redemption. I closed the journal with a sense of finality, its pages a testament to the enduring legacy of Qingxi and the drowned bride whose spirit had touched my life in ways I could never have imagined. And as I gazed out at the city skyline, bathed in the fading light of day, I knew that Mei Ying's story would live on, a whisper in the wind, a memory etched into the fabric of time and a testament to the enduring power of love that transcends even death itself.